Hi, I'm Tim.
And I'm Matt at MrMaple, and thanks for clicking on another MrMaple Show video. Today we have an episode dedicated to conifers.
We've got the Conifer Collector because this collection of conifers is made just for you.
Hey, thanks for clicking on another MrMaple Show video. We greatly appreciate it. If you don't mind, take a second, like, subscribe, and we also ask that you share this video with your gardening friends. That's the best way for this channel to grow and for us to know what content to provide for you. We also love those comments in the comment section below, letting us know future videos you'd like to see. If you like conifer content, let us know because we're planning on doing a lot more conifer content as we expand this channel.
Yeah, and we do a lot of different varieties of conifers here at MrMaple, and we hope that you can see more and more of these videos to understand a lot of these conifers and how you can use them in your garden.
Yeah, everybody knows us for the maples, but since we've updated our website, we've actually listed close to over 300 different varieties of conifers on MrMaple as well.
And more to come.
Yeah, there's always something new and exciting, so make sure to sign up for those weekly emails on MrMaple. We had 10 new exciting plants every single Tuesday at 10, and often a lot of conifer-related content. So on today's Conifer Collector video, we've got an assortment of some unique different trees that we think you're really going to enjoy in your conifer collection. The first one we're going to talk about is Thujopsis dolobrata nana. Now this is a shade-loving conifer, which makes it pretty unique. I think it's one you're going to enjoy in your garden.
Yeah, this is a conifer that can tolerate more shade than a lot of other conifers. So if you have some shaded areas that you still want to grow an evergreen, Thujopsis dolobrata nana is an excellent choice for you. That's a big mouthful to say, Thujopsis dolobrata. It's often it's called a Japanese asunaro. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but it's a conifer that's really unique and very different. One of the things I like about it is on the back side of the foliage, it's silver. It has like these silver kind of scales on the back side of it, which gives it something kind of unique, something kind of different as well.
Yeah, it's a great small conifer. We get so many questions and people say, what's a dwarf conifer that I can plant in a shadier spot? And this is highly requested for that reason alone. I mean, it's a great shape overall as well, but I think the fact that it's shade tolerant makes it very nice. And like Tim said, that silvery underside I think gives it a little something extra. It's like the hidden variegation to the plant. It's like it's variegated, but you got to look for it a little bit, which I think is kind of fun.
Yeah, and it's just something that looks almost prehistoric. I love Thujopsis dolobrata, and Thujopsis dolobrata nana is awesome because it's a smaller selection. So you're going to get about 3 feet by 3 feet in 10 years, which makes it great for a lot of small gardens or containers, and something that you can bring into that shadier spot where you can't bring a lot of the other conifers.
Yeah, I think containers are a great use for this one. You know, it's a plant that's going to have that rounded dome look to it, so it's a small kind of canopy to it, and so it really fills out a nice container planting very well. I mean, if you want that 4 seasons evergreen interest in a small container spot, and you're looking for a shadier spot, I mean, look no further than this. It's a perfect candidate for that.
One thing I really love about a lot of conifers is that they can provide blue color. I love Chamaecyparis baby blue ice.
You know, this color is really what draws me to this one. I mean, it's a really nice light blue. I mean, it's baby blue. It's what you think of as baby blue. It's a really fun color. In fact, I've just thought of a new business model for us. You can send us what gender your baby is, and we'll send you a baby blue ice or like a pink filigree. you can do your gender reveal right here with MrMaple. I got a baby due in March if you can't tell, and we're waiting to find out. But baby blue ice is a really fun one for the color. I think it's one you're going to love adding to your conifer collection. It's a small, it starts out more rounded, but then gets more of that pyramidal shape, but it's a smaller overall conifer. Typically we list this one as around 3 feet even in 10 years, so it's not something that's going to be massive. That gives it a great you know, small conifer garden appeal to it. So it's going to go in there and add that blue color to an area where you might not have a lot of blue, so it certainly can do that.
Yeah, and that silver blue, when you look up close, gives that baby blue appearance from a distance with that rounded dwarf habit on a Sawahara cypress. This is a conifer that can go down to zone 4 and it can go to zone 8. You always want, as conifers, you want to check your heat index to make sure that you can handle and make sure they don't have too much humidity for a lot of the conifers as well. But conifers love good drainage. That's the key thing with most conifers. And if you give good drainage to baby blue ice, it's going to really thrive and do well for you and really give you that nice blue habit in a small space. Excellent container plant.
Yeah, it's another one. I was actually going to reiterate that myself. It's another one I love for container gardening because of that color and that small shape. I mean, you can put this with some nice pot pairings where you pick the pot color that's just going to knock you out with the blue because it's already going to be almost like a, I mean, I hate to say metallic-y, but like such a light blue that it's really unique in the garden. So you can get as creative as you want with that pot color with that because, I mean, you put this up next to some pot colors that accentuate blue, and I mean, it's going to be out of this world with different colors. So Great way to grow this one, equally as well in the ground. This is one you can put out there that's going to do fine in the conifer garden. And this one's going to work zones 4 through 8, so it's a durable plant that's going to go into a lot of different landscapes. I like that it's zone 4. I like offering more zone 4 plants because we can push it a little bit further with that. But
yeah, I really like this too. It's one that could be great for miniature railroad gardens with that nice little rounded shape. Really add something that's very unique and very special. They've got a gorgeous railroad garden out at the North Carolina Arboretum, and I think you're seeing a lot more gardens that are incorporating that because they understand how much people enjoy and kids enjoy gardening whenever you can introduce them to something like a railroad garden.
Yeah, the fairy gardens. My girls love fairy gardens, and it's a great candidate for that as well, just because you're going to pick some of that different color. And so you might already have, you know, light pink or some smaller overall like that daisy white we talked about the other day in a video. That's a great candidate for a fairy garden. Well, this is as well because it's going to bring some blues, and so it's going to contrast some of those other fairy gardens.
You almost have like that frozen theme.
Yeah, right. There you go. There you go.
Yeah. But it's a plant that gives a lot of blue color that would complement most dwarf Japanese maples with that red color like a Shana or something that would really do well out in the landscape and garden.
So next on our list, we have a unique Mugo pine. This is Pinus Mugo Sunshine. So we actually have these on a standard. Standard means it's grafted a little bit higher up, so it has that lollipop type appearance, or sometimes you refer to it as a high graft. So that often in Japanese maples we refer to it as a high graft, or on a standard really typically is more used in conifers. But either way works. But it does give it that kind of lollipop look to it where you have that straight trunk and then that ball at the top.
And we have offered this as well in low grafts as well. So if you see this on our website, definitely select which one you want, either a high graft or a low graft.
Yeah, we wanted to throw the high graft in here just to show you that option and to better explain what that is for folks. We get a lot of questions about what is a high graft versus a low graft. And we have these this way. It's a fun way to offer this one. Sunshine is a variegated mountain pine. So you get this really showy display of yellow and green and almost white in the early spring as it starts to push new needles. It's a very colorful display. I love this one for its flash. It's definitely one of those plants that's going to provide a lot of color in the landscape.
Every time it pushes new growth, you get more and more variegation. And that variegation of that cream to white to yellow on top of that green really stands out and gives it something very special as a variegated conifer or variegated plants. People love variegated plants, and I love variegated conifers. I think that's one of the things that draws me into a lot of different conifers is that variegation that gives them something a little extra special and unique.
Yeah, it's a great candidate for that small area garden. We typically list it as about 3 foot even in 10 years, so it's going to have that nice dense appearance to it. It's a great candidate for so many reasons, but it's going to provide a real splash. I mean, I think what it brings is that flashiness to a conifer. I love its overall color patterns. I really love this one in early spring because it just brings a huge display.
Yeah, with every flush of growth, this thing just keeps putting on that variegation that makes this one stand out from your typical Mugo pine. And being that it's got that rounded habit, like Matt said, with that 3x3, it's a great plant that you can grow in a lot of spaces. And in the deep south, and really a lot of places in the south, you want to give a lot of Mugo pines, especially variegated ones, protection from the hot afternoon sun. You want to give them some sunlight. Morning sun, afternoon shade is probably ideal for this with the variegation. But this is a plant that will give you a lot of unique interest in a dwarf conifer.
For sure, this one works zones 5 through 8. And I just think it's one of the flashier conifers. That's one of the things that I love about it. It's definitely got that flash appeal to it right out the gate. It's one that can go out in any garden and kind of provide that sunshine color. I mean, that's really perfect for what it is because it's definitely a flashy plant. It's one that's going to pair really cool beside Japanese maples, especially in that spring garden. But it's going to look good in so many different settings, whether it's a small conifer garden or a container garden. It's a perfect candidate for either of those.
So in a lot of our conifer videos, we want to make sure that we include a lot of different varieties. And this is one that stands out from the crowd for its height. This is Cypress Deodora Carl Fuchs.
Yeah, we like this plant a lot because it provides that tall, narrow contrast there in the landscape. This one at about 10 feet is only about 5 feet wide, so it makes that narrow spectrum. And it's a fairly fast grower, typically around a foot of growth a year, but it kind of just provides that tall blue kind of narrower habit overall.
And this will actually make an upright tree, but the branches off of it are semi-pendulous. And so it has a very unique shape on a more narrow, upright Deodora cedar.
Yeah, Carl Fuchs, a German guy who found this as a seedling in Afghanistan. The tree was actually selected for its drought tolerance, so an extremely drought tolerant Cypress Deodora. One we think you're going to love in your landscape. it's a very durable plant. I mean, we list this one as zone 6 through 11, but I have had customers in Europe that were saying they were growing this in zone 4 with no problem, so I have had reports of that. We do list it as a zone 6 plant.
Yeah, this is a plant that's going to give something very unique, give you a nice vertical interest with evergreen appeal. The Himalayan cedars make amazing plants as they mature out, and this is one that does that in a more narrow shape, so it fits in a lot more people's garden.
Yeah, you may have heard us talking about this with some of the other cedars, but they really provide a great bones for the garden. I mean, you can put this one out, it's going to provide structures that really create that structure that you can build the rest of the garden around. So last up but not least, we have Pinus Hebrachii satellite. This is a really fun Bosnian pine with a more narrow overall shape.
I like this because it has that narrow shape like Matt talked about with a rounded habit. So it really gives it something very unique and different in the garden, being an evergreen interest with that narrow habit.
Yeah, typically these are about 10 foot tall, but about 5 foot wide in 10 years. But as they age, they do tend to densen up. So they get a little thicker at the base, which just gives it a very nice full appearance all the way up. Really nice pine though. It's a fun one for so many uses. The Bosnian pines are always popular for bonsai because they're very durable. This is a plant that works zones 4 through 7, so it's one that's going to be exceptionally durable for those areas as well.
Yeah, the thing about these two is their needles. They look so different from a lot of the pines that we have here in Western North Carolina and across the United States that they really give that extra ornamental appeal in the United States because of their that rich green color that they have.
Yeah, it's a very tough look. It's got that very regal kind of overall appearance to it. As it densens up, it really gives it a nice backdrop. I mean, you heard me say this in any conifer video, but this is one that my wife's always going to turn into a Christmas tree in the garden. It's a fun one for that winter appeal. It's going to have that very kind of perfect shape for that. So if you like a living Christmas tree in the yard, it is a perfect shape for that as well.
Yeah, and it will pair nicely against Tamukiyamas and a lot of those red weeping Japanese maples or red uprights that would give it something color that will contrast really nicely with.
For sure. It's a very dark green too. I mean, as you get with a lot of the Bosnian pines, they're a little darker overall. They're more of that really rich, bold green. And just what you kind of think of with conifers. It's a very nice, fresh look to it. It gives it a very almost like summery feel to it. I mean, it's got that lodge kind of look to it. So it's a fun plant. I like it a lot. I think it's one that is great where you're looking for that more columnar overall aspect in the garden. That's really where this one shines, is where you want something that's going to be, you know, an upright tree, maybe a focal point planting, another one that you can put out there and kind of be the bones of your garden to build around. This is a great tree to provide structure in the landscape for sure. And your other plants in the garden are really going to play off this one because it's going to give that structure.
So Matt, out of all these conifers we have here on the table, what's your favorite selection?
You can guess with me. I'm a flashy guy. I like the flashy stuff. I'm going to pick Pinus Mugo Sunshine. I just like variegated conifers. It's a pine with, I mean, every bit of flash you could ask for in a deciduous plant. It's got that really just striking overall appearance to it. There's a lot of runners up here, but I think if I was going for just one, I would pick the Pinus Mugo Sunshine. I'd actually pick it on the standard. I think the standard gives it something a little interesting to it. I like that lollipop overall look to it. I like bringing that color up a little bit higher. But yeah, that'd be my choice out of these. There's a lot of great choices here. What would you say would be your pick if you were picking a favorite out of this group?
You know, I really like the satellite, and I really like Thujopsis dolobrata nana, but baby blue ice has got to win for me.
We like the flashy stuff.
I like the blue color. I like the dwarf habit. I like the rounded shape. Whenever I see like a mature specimen out in the landscape, it's something that has that sort of wow factor that I think about putting in our Japanese maple gardens. And I think that one's probably my favorite one out of this group. But Thujopsis dolobrata nana, I love that one too. I mean, that one's a close second.
I like Thujopsis dolobrata nana. I think it's got a lot of versatility to it. I mean, people are always asking us for conifers that can do the shade, and that one is a very durable one, and it definitely can handle the shade. I mean, that one, you know, its durability for, you know, not needing a ton of full all-day sun makes it unique in the conifer world, I think. And it just gives it a little something extra. I do like the underside being variegated as well. It's outside the box, but
if I asked you which one would you rather pair with the Japanese maple, what would it change from?
Well, this would be one of the flashier picks for sure for that. It would very much depend on the Japanese maple. Now, if I were going with a red lace leaf or more traditional red upright, I would probably pick satellite. I mean, those colors are going to play off of it every single season. It's going to have just the perfect backdrop, you know, for Japanese maples. That background is going to be evergreen, dark green, and it's just going to provide everything I want in an accompaniment planting. But if I'm going for a heavy shade garden, I mean, the Thujopsis dolobrata nana is going to pair in with some of those variegated Japanese maples that might not want as much sun, where people are looking for a conifer or maybe something that's going to provide them a small screen to block something out. That one's going to pair really well in that type garden where it's more shade oriented.
Thanks for watching this video for you, the conifer collector, on this great conifer collection.
Hey, we hope you like that. Let us know in the comments below if you'd like to see more conifer content. We're going to create a playlist down on our channel, so you can go to MrMaple Show on YouTube and go to that playlist and get specifically to our conifer content. And we hope you enjoy that. Let us know what other conifer content you'd like to see here on our channel. We'll be expanding that a good bit. As always, like and subscribe to the MrMaple Show. We'll be adding new videos almost daily, so we're always adding new content. We greatly appreciate that. Share it with your gardening friends as well. That's the best way for our channel to grow. So if you enjoy this, you know, let your garden club know about it. It's a fun way for them to find out about MrMaple, and it really helps the channel.
We greatly appreciate you taking time to watch this video. Please like it, subscribe, comment in the comment section below, and always remember the best way you can support this channel is by shopping on MrMaple.com.
Yeah, definitely. And check out our 10 at 10s. We had 10 new plants every single Tuesday at 10. Oftentimes there are a lot of conifer content on there. We actually exceed 10 quite a bit this time of year. So if we need to get more things on the website, you might even see 15 to 20 things at 10 o'clock. So there's always something fun and exciting, and don't miss out on that. That's at 10 a.m. Eastern every single Tuesday on our website. And you can sign up for those emails to get notified about what's new on that early too. Those emails typically go out around 9:30, so those people get a little early preview of what's to come.
Take care,
God bless,
and have a great day.